There's this moment, and I know every guy knows exactly which one I'm talking about, that you realize you've been losing the game you didn't even know you were playing. For me, it happened twice in the same year. Both of them hit different, but together they completely changed the way that I move. The first one involved a girl. The second one involved a mirror. And if you're a young guy who's trying to figure out where he's actually going, you need to watch this. Because I genuinely think guys in the late teens and early 20s learn this way too late. I had to take off the shirt. We're getting serious. I'm not going to sit here and act like I was some simp or anything. I wasn't texting this girl at 2 a.m. blowing up her phone begging for attention. But I was investing. I was giving her time, energy, and attention. And she wasn't even worth it. And I'm not saying that to be harsh. I'm saying that because it's true. I already knew from previous experiences with her that she was a waste of time. That she just played around and was only using me for attention. But I kept going anyways. Simply because I enjoyed feeling wanted. Or at least I thought that I was. And when she played me, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some big event. It was just a moment that revealed to me that I was only an option the whole time. And so while I was giving her all this energy, she was only using it for my attention. And the worst part about the situation wasn't the fact that I got played. It was the thoughts of why did I let this happen? Because here's what no one tells you when you're young and you're chasing girls. Every hour that you spend orbiting someone else's life is an hour that you should be investing in yourself. Because that's an hour that you're not building, you're not reading, you're not improving your life. You're just handing it over to someone else. Because get that clear, she didn't rob me of anything. Although she played me, she didn't rob me of anything. I handed over my attention. And that was my first wake-up call. That moment where I realized that I just made this huge mistake with this girl that I shouldn't have even been talking to, that is what made me realize, hey, something needs to change. The second one was worse, because there was no one else to blame. At this point, I'm about a year into being serious. I've got the vision, I've got the plans, I've got the idea, I'm doing something every day. But then I look around at guys my same age, who had the same starting point as me, and their life is completely different. They're having actual progress in life. They're getting the degrees, they're making the family, they're running the business, they're actually having change. And I'm just standing there thinking, what do I have to show for this year? Not much. And that hit harder than anything, because I couldn't be angry about it. Although I was furious within myself, I couldn't be angry about it. I was just sad. And I had to sit with the truth that I was comfortable just going through the motions with no real results. There's a difference between being busy and being serious. And that took me so long to actually understand. I was busy. I had the activities. I was doing the things that were supposed to progress me forward. But activity without direction, without full commitment to actually producing the results, without actually having a standard that you hold every single day, that's just drifting with more steps. Most guys our age are drifting, and I was one of them. And the scariest part is, it feels comfortable in the moment. You don't feel miserable, you don't feel like you're failing, you don't feel like you're falling behind everyone. You're just coasting. And coasting feels nice in the moment, but coasting at 19, 20, 21, that costs you more than you can ever calculate right now. Me, for example, I'm 21 right now. I look back at my life 18 and 19, and I think, bro, what did I do? What did I spend that time doing? Sure, I chased a few girls. Sure, I hung out with a few friends and had a fun time, but what did I build? So here's where I had to get real with myself. Both of these situations, the girl and the year of no progress, they were symptoms of the same problem. I was living reactively. I was letting the days happen to me and the situations come to me instead of actually seeking out and pursuing my own. And I had to make a decision, a quiet and internal commitment to holding my own standards. This is what that looked like practically. First, I stopped letting my attention be someone else's resource. Every guy in his 20s has this small window where he can build something with relatively low overhead and high freedom. And that window doesn't stay open forever. And I'm not going to waste my time chasing validation from some stupid girl when I should be building an empire. Second, I started measuring myself on output instead of effort. Effort is just showing up. Anyone can show up. I don't care what they tell you. Showing up is not half of the battle. Showing up is the first requirement. What did you actually produce? What did you actually get done? What results do you actually have? Those are the questions I started asking myself every single week. And if I can't properly answer them, then something needs to change. And third, I got serious about who I was becoming, not just what I was doing. Out of all the many books that I've read, from people like Marcus Aurelius, Napoleon Hill, Maxwell Maltz, Stephen Covey, I've found that action always follows identity. If you see yourself as someone who's disciplined, serious, who's actually going somewhere, Your daily behavior reflects that. But if you're just performing productivity without actual vision and results, you're just drifting. And that's exactly where I found myself. When I was drifting, I thought of myself as someone who was serious. I was telling myself that I was building stuff, I was learning, I was actually putting in this effort, that I'm different than these guys who are just out there partying and wasting their time, that I'm doing more than them. In that story, it felt true. It was believable, but my results obviously didn't reflect it. That's the trap. The story that you tell about yourself to substitute reality. You get a feeling of an identity without actually having any proof of it. And proof only comes from output. It comes from the results that you can point at and show people. And that's the problem, is we get so obsessed with the things that look nice, like reading and journaling, but we never actually focus on getting the results. So our identity falls back on, yes, I am doing things, but your actual progress says, no, you're not. Here's the part that I think is genuinely underrated in all of this. When you make that shift, when you actually get serious, not a performative serious, actually serious, it's quiet. It doesn't feel like a movie moment. You don't have that Rocky soundtrack playing every step you take. Nobody's clapping for you. In fact, most people won't even see a change. And in my case, you won't even have those people around to see a change, because the work is all internal. It's not external. And that is exactly what makes it so hard to trust it at the start. For me, I kept looking for these external signals to prove that I was actually changing, that I was actually progressing. And for a while, there wasn't anything on the outside. I was just different on the inside. And you will realize that. One day you'll wake up and your thoughts will just be so much different now. But those results on the outside aren't there yet. But here's the thing I've learned. That quiet space between changing yourself on the inside and having those tangible results on the outside. That is where most guys quit, because it doesn't feel like it's working. It feels like you're wasting your time. You're seeing all these people that you used to know out there having a great life, but you have to be okay with that gap. You have to believe in yourself and believe that it's compounding. Not as some motivational concept, but as a real thing that is quietly happening every single day that you hold yourself to that higher standard. Most guys never get through that gap. They're just too obsessed with the feedback loop and having some form of validation. But the guys who do, they have something real to show. So if you're in that gap right now, I know how you feel, I know how hard it is, but stay through with it. That's exactly where you're supposed to be. I'm not sitting here telling you I have it all figured out. I'm 21 and I still have so many more things to learn and build. But that's exactly the point of this channel, to come on here and share these ideas and advice that I'm learning in real time. But I'll tell you this with full confidence. The biggest threats to a young man's future right now is not lack of opportunity or lack of intelligence. It is distraction and drift. Distraction is letting girls, social media, stupid friends, whatever it may be, pull your best energy away from what actually matters. And drift is that comfortable state of sort of trying, but never actually committing. Protect your attention like it is the most valuable asset in the world, because truthfully, it is. You're not behind. If you are figuring this out right now, then that means that you actually have a chance. Do not waste it. You need to stop pretending that motion is progress, because it absolutely is not. The only thing that matters is results. If this hit, drop a comment and let me know about it. Send this to someone who needs to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one.